Wow, guys, these old rigs are filthy. How's it going, Motor City Miner here, coming at you from the farm where I am, yes, setting up some of my old rigs that have been decommissioned for quite some time. These are from the old farm before I upgraded to all the Octaminers. But I'm actually in the exhaust room, the exhaust chamber, whatever you want to call it. So we've been in here before. But now that it's winter time, it's pretty cold in here. And I have some GPUs I haven't been using, specifically older 5000 and 220 series GPUs. And I really hate just having stuff sitting around, not mining for me. The plan long term is for those GPUs to be cycled out in this next bull market and sold. But right now they've just been sitting around doing a whole lot of nothing. I did have some 2070s on a table that was underneath my Helium 5G miner here. Those are actually on the bottom now of this rack. So not a new rack. This is actually parts from an existing rack that were left over, and I had enough extra parts to make another shelf. But yeah, so the 2070s are, at least one of the rigs is already on since I moved it. The other one almost ready. But yeah, gonna put 5600s on this guy here. And then I have another 5 2070s that are gonna go on one of these 5-slot rigs. And I think I'll put some 3060s. I have exactly 5 3060s. I really don't like the 3060. Prefer, 3070s, 3060 Ti's. 3060s were just underperformed, but I have 5 of them, so that I've been planning to sell, but I'll put them on here until then. But yeah, since it's cold in this room, figured why not, mine in here too. So now I have another mining room temporarily, at least just for the winter, because it is nice and cool in here. This room gets pretty hot in the summer, so doubt I'll be able to keep these running once summer gets here again. But yeah, just thinking might as well put these GPUs to use until I sell them. But I do need to clean up these rigs because, man, they are disgusting. I mean, the amount of dust that's built up on these, it's just gross. But yeah, so to make this work though, so this room doesn't actually have, I never planned to mine in here, so I didn't run any circuits in here. I just never got around to it, to be honest. It just wasn't a priority. So I kind of am makeshifting this. So most of these old rigs, because they're from my old farm that I left a little over a year ago, run on 120 power as well as 240. So I actually am utilizing some of the existing wall outlets, but 120 volt circuit can only hold half as much wattage, so kind of have to be a little more strategic. Essentially, these two rigs can easily go on a 20 amp 120 volt circuit, no issues, and still have plenty of room, but definitely can't put all 5. So trying to find, you can kind of see I have like another this guy here, little power strip coming from the next room where there's another 20 amp 120 volt circuit. That's also where again, didn't plan to mine here, so have our Ethernet coming from the blue squadron mining room as well to this little switch here, that'll hopefully get us up and running. So a little more finagling to do. I still don't have enough, because again, this can only this power strip's rated for 1800 watts at 120 volts. So I'm essentially planning to have these two 5-card rigs on here, but that still means I'm kind of short. So I haven't quite figured out how to get more power into this room yet. Maybe a really, really long extension cord. Again, don't really recommend running things on extension cords, but if you do, definitely get like a shop extension cord. So I got this giant one. It's kind of hard to tell, but this is like a super thick 14 gauge extension cord. So, you know, you definitely don't want to run continual high load on a normal extension cord. Definitely get like a shop cord or something that would be in like a workshop. So that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to have to run this really long yellow cable pretty much through this gap and run it 2 rooms down. So going through all the back holes, because again, I've already tapped each of my mining rooms only have one 120 volt circuit. So I've already tapped it with this power strip. So this guy will have to go to the next room, which is going to be Green Squadron, to get some power. So I think that's how I'm going to get my 5600 XT rig some power. Other than that, you know, I've also been like reorganizing the whole farm in general. So it's kind of dark in here because, again, no light. This will someday be my office someday when I get a light in here and actually finish this space. Again, prior tenant never quite finished building it out, but I actually moved all my old mining equipment. My boneyard, that I've called it in quotation marks in the past, is now in this room. Sorry, it's kind of dark in here, but you know, you can see all kinds of GPU box rigs, some more open air rigs. There's probably at least, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. At least 12 more GPU rigs that, you know, were decommissioned that are in here. Got a whole bunch of desktop PCs from when I way back started and had no idea what I was doing and thought mining on a desktop computer was the way to go. So I bought like a ton of desktop shells. But yeah, just a whole bunch of other parts and a whole bunch of other crap in here, which has actually helped out front, because if you remember, when I actually moved to this location, I kind of had to get out of my last lease. I couldn't afford during the bear market to have 2 locations. So everything was kind of up front here, and I honestly have not had a workspace up here in probably 6 months at this point. But you can see it's actually, my desk is clear. I got another desk that actually like I can work at. There's still a couple things I still got to put away, as you can see, but like trying to clear up these shelves too, so this can be more of my active work area, since this is going to be my actual office area for a while until I finish that back room. What else have I done since I was here last? I mean, it hasn't been that long, only a few days. I did, as part of the getting networking out to that exhaust chamber, I did start to at least get networking also to the Octo server, but that's on my to-do list. That'll be in the next couple weeks. Yeah, so this is the Blue Squadron room I was talking about, so you can see how that power strip comes in here and pulls power from the 120 volt circuit in here. I'll have to, like I said, the yellow extension cord will actually go through this hole into the next room. But yeah, and then just swapped out this box for a slightly bigger switch here so I could get some Ethernet out to that new mining location. So that's what we're kind of up to. I'm going to see if I can get, essentially I'm hoping to get all the power and Ethernet how it's needed here, and then I'll start cleaning up these rigs and putting cards on it. So hopefully I'll at least get one of these up today. I do have the 52070s here. The 5600 XTs and the 3060s are elsewhere at the moment. But yeah, I hope to at least get this one up before I end this video. So we'll be right back once I figure out exactly where all this power is going to come from and where all the Ethernet's going to come from. So be right back in a few moments. Alright, so I figured out where all 5 of these machines are going to pull power from. So this top one is actually going to pull out, I have this power strip here for one of the exhaust fans. This circuit has a lot of fans on it, pretty much all the ones in the hallway. The circuiting is kind of weird, so pretty much this room, the normal outlets in here, and the hallway are all on one circuit, 120 volt. But even with all the fans, most of those fans are only 70 watts. These bigger ones are like 250. But I'm way under the, on a 20 amp, 120 volt circuit, you can get 2400 watts. So I was pretty far under that, about 1200 under. So I can put a 5-card rig on there and feel perfectly fine. You know, this might pull, depending on what algorithm, up to like maybe 600 watts or so. But, you know, that being a 5-card rig, not an issue. So this one's on the fan circuit. This 5-card rig, and this 2070 rig are on this power strip, which is pulling power from the next room. So that's fine. And this being a 5-card and an 8-card, this will never hit 1800 watts with the algorithms I'm on my 2070s. So perfectly fine there with the 80% rule on the 1800 watt whatever this thing, power strip. The middle one, which will be the 5600 XT rig. So that one, you can see I've routed that yellow super high gauge, I guess low gauge, 14 gauge wire. That's coming from 2 rooms down. So that's the only card that'll be on that, and that's fine because it's an extension cord. I really don't, even though it's a good extension cord and a shop extension cord, I still, don't want to push it. So just one rig on there. And then the bottom rig is actually pulling from this circuit, which there's a circuit that goes along the back of, I'm guessing before all these room dividers were in, there's essentially a circuit that runs down the whole back side of all those rooms, which I don't have anything on. So we tap that as well, which I guess does have the one exhaust fan in here on it. But so I think that'll work pretty well and keep me safe under the 80% rule on all these circuits. So essentially I'm using 4 circuits, right? 4 different circuits for these 5 rigs. So I've even though they're 120 volt, that'll be fine. Plus, these being older cards, I tend to put them on really low wattage algorithms where the older cards are at least a little more efficient, and not as much of a difference. So we're gonna actually grab this rig, because this one, it's the one I need to put those 5 2070s on that I got sitting around today. So we're going to take this guy over to the workbench and clean it up. I guess, actually, I don't want to clean it. It's so dusty, I don't really want to clean it up fully up there in my workspace. So maybe we'll just put it on the ground here. And I do have the leaf blower. Yeah, leaf blower. We're going to blow this thing out. All right, that should be at least a good starting point. That way I don't get too much dust over in my actual work area. I'm going to try and keep it a little cleaner over there from now on, just because that's where I plan to work a lot going forward. Well, I can't open this with one hand, or 0 hands. One's holding a camera, one's holding the rig. So be right back once I get over to my workbench. All right, so we're out at the workbench now. And it definitely, the leaf blower cleaned it up a lot. I love leaf blowers for cleaning out dust. The little spray nozzles, you just go through canisters like no other. They just Just love leaf blowers. But so you can kind of see we got the 5 X8 slots. I mean, they're 16 in length, but they're actually all X8 on this board. Unfortunately, still not good for proof of useful work because it only has the 1 RAM slot, so there's no way you could ever put enough RAM on this board to be good at it. But these boards were actually designed for 3060s back when if you put a display, like a little, what are they called? Little adapter, it would, if the card knew it had a display, it would hash at full hash rate back when the first version of LHR came out. So that's what these boards were actually designed for. Again, I'm just going to be putting 2070s on this today. But yeah, we'll get these in there. I do gotta, honestly, I'm just going to put a fresh install of Hive OS because this one's probably 2 years old at this point. But we'll be right back once we get this all set up and ready to go. Alright, so we have our RTX 2070 rig all reset up. You clean the rig, you clean the cards. The rig frame's a little dirty still, but I don't care about that. It was really just the board. But it should be ready to go. So got a fresh install of Hive OS. We're going to go throw this on the rack and see if this does indeed boot up. Alright, it's on the rack. Moment of truth here. I also got the watt meter just because this rig doesn't have a smart PDU, so it doesn't actually calculate, so I'll have to update that in Hive OS. It does seem to have at least turned on, so we're going to go over to the computer and see if this is showing up. Alright, and just like that, we are up in business. So super exciting there. Got these 5. Don't know what I'm going to mine yet. Again, something low power consumption just because they're old cards, and anything that requires high power consumption, that's when you really exaggerate inefficiencies of older cards. So maybe some RXD or something like that. But yeah, happy to get these up. I'm going to quickly at least flash the hard drives for the other 2, even though I don't have cards on them. Just make sure those rigs are up and running. But yeah, that's about it for today until I bring up the rest of the cards and get the rest of this stack going. So I'm going to, like I said, quickly at least get those other 2 machines operating without any GPUs. Then we'll peace out for the day. Alright, so I did in fact get a new Hive OS installed on these 2 empty rigs. Interesting note though, the PSU on this one, I just quickly grabbed a Bitmain one I had, but the PSU that was on here actually like burst into flames a little bit when I plugged it in. Okay, not flames, but sparks went everywhere, and it died. So I guess I'm glad that happened while there were no GPUs in, but yeah, I just threw on this Bitmain one real quick just to make sure it was installed properly, and it is. But yeah, other than that, we'll be back in a little bit. I'm not sure when I'll get these GPUs ready to go on here, probably next week or 2. But yeah, it's pretty much all set up, ready to go. So we will eventually have 5 GPU mining rigs in this room. But yeah, so like, comment below, subscribe obviously if you like this content. If there's anything else on the farm you want to see, let me know down below. But that's all I got for today. Probably be a little bit before I get back to the farm, just because Thanksgiving is this holiday week right now, so we'll be out of town quite a few times visiting family. So but yeah, we'll be back next week sometime from the farm. Until next time.